to all Gunners fans around the world. Hi to all football enthusiasts all around the world. You are most welcome to this edition of the Arsenal Alchemy. We are presenting this edition on the back of the game against Atletico Madrid at the Stadium Metropolitano. That stadium is an edifice. It's a fantastic work of art, and it's almost supposed to be like a fortress for Atletico Madrid because of the very aggressive home support they get from the stadium. Now, before this game, Atletico had been planning ahead for this game, going on 2 weeks now, 3 weeks. They have actually rested players from 2 weeks ago after they ousted Barcelona. They have, given up on their pursuit in the league to focus on the Champions League. They've been resting their players, people like Ademola Lookman, people like Julian Alvarez, people like Lorente, people like Barrios. Oh, but Barrios is injured. People like Diego's Simeone's son. I forgot what his first name is, but he's been resting his key players. Basically, he's been playing his second 11 in lieu of this game. On the other hand, Arsenal has been under pressure because we have been playing on all fronts, competing on all fronts. We are very, very focused in our league, and of course, we know the recent results that Arsenal has had hasn't been very, very favorable. So, but Arsenal did get a very, very much needed win over the weekend by winning Newcastle by 1-0, which is very good. And, with that, we came into this game with some kind of confidence. The confidence stems from our ability to defend very well. We are very organized defensively. Now, talking about defense, I'm going to talk about yesterday's game, the game against PSG and Bayern Munich. Of course, by now we all know that game was a goal fest. It ended 5-4. 9 goals were scored in that game. It was a heavy metal football kind of game. Tactical, everybody was on their game, everybody was up for it. It was just a matter of who could outscore each other. PSG won the game 5-4. At a point, it was 5-2. And you were thinking, okay, with 5-2, this tie should be wrapped up. But, I think I'll call it some kind of inexperience because they came out and they still, wanted to attack. Maybe blow Bayern out of the pack, by probably winning by 4 or 5 goals difference. But Bayern came back. They were able to score 2 extra goals and made the scoreline kind of tilt to their favor going to the Alliance Arena in Munich. And, the reason why I'm talking about this game is I just felt the defense and the tactics of the coaches was, I thought it was a bit naive. That's the only reason why I'm not scared of these 2 other teams, because while for a neutral the game was very enjoyable, it was very enjoyable. It was a lovely game. I stood at the edge of my seat, and I was at the end of the game I clapped. It was a very enjoyable game, but you can't help but talk about their defense. In one game, it was a 9-goal game. It was like a basketball game. it was like a basketball game. And in the Champions League, I don't think that was that was the right approach. I mean, they have these two teams are blessed with attacking players. These two teams are blessed with the best players in the world. We're talking a game that included Vitinho, Harry Kane, Olise, Cavastelia, um, Hakimi, Usman Dembele. Look, I could call the whole 22 players, and they're all superstars. It was a spectacle. It was a cinematic game to watch. It was a beautiful game to watch. Now, in contrast to that game from yesterday, Arsenal and Atletico Madrid are supposed to be the very pragmatic teams. We're supposed to be very pragmatic. I wouldn't really say Atletico has been very pragmatic in recent times. Their defense has been lacking. But Arsenal is the number one pragmatic team this season in the Champions League. We haven't lost a game so far in the Champions League. I think we've drawn twice in the Champions League. So it was three times, I think. So it was, on the other hand, two attack-minded teams, and today's game was two very defensive-minded teams. Now I'm going to give it to Atletico coming to this game. They have a better attack. They have a much better attack in Julian Alvarez, Lukman, Antoine Griezmann, and in the middle of their pack, they had Koke, and he's very experienced. So, coming into this game, Atletico was a slight favorite because they were playing at home, and most of their players are well rested. Most of their players are well rested. They're very technical, and they have this never say die attitude towards big games. They run and run and run. We saw it today. So the game started. The first half was kind of cagey. It was, both teams were very cautious. Both teams didn't want to really commit. Nobody wanted to make a mistake. And, but they had chances. Julian Alvarez had a very good shot, on goal. And, but our keeper duly saved it. It was a good save, but it was a save he was supposed to make. Now, on the other end, Arsenal threw a very, very good run from Victor Gyökeres, took the Atletico players on, the Atletico defense. He took them on and squared the ball, and the ball fell to Martin Odegaard, whom I think should have done better. I think he really should have done better, and I think he should have hit the ball one time. No need to move the ball and look for a comfortable feet to put it. And that made the Atletico defenders, that made them recover, and the shot was duly blocked. And I thought Noni Madueke was really good in the first half too. He had a very good shot that narrowly missed. I thought he was very good. He pulled out one or two quality crosses. I'm sure the criticisms that he's been facing is getting to him, So I was happy for a much improved display by Noni Madueke. And, I think the first half, the only player that really wasn't up for it was Martinelli. I really don't understand. Martinelli wasn't up for it. He didn't have any impact in that in the first half. In fact, the one and only time he was supposed to be active in attack, there was a ball Noni floated in, and he and Hincapi went for the ball. Hincapi was in a better position to get the ball, but there was a bit of a mix-up between Hincapi and Gyökeres and Martinelli. So, like I said, so in the first half, like I said, it was cagey till we had a lifeline. We had a penalty. Um, a very good, midfield play by us, and the ball was squared into by Zubimendi to Victor Gyökeres. He took a touch, and with that touch, um, David Hanko, the Atletico defender, barged into him. I think it was a clumsy challenge, and the referee duly pointed to the penalty spot. But if you look at some people have been saying it's soft, it's not a penalty, but I don't know how that is not a penalty. He barged into him. He even had his hands around him initially. So to me, it was a stonewall penalty. Like we know, Arsenal has a lot of haters, and the haters are always going to talk. They're always going to find something to hate. So we were given the penalty. VAR checked it, of course, and it was correctly awarded. Victor Gyökeres duly took it. This guy's penalty, I have to tell you, is something else. Nobody saves his penalties. Even though Oblak knew the ball was going to this particular angle, Oblak went there, but he didn't get it. The shot came off his feet like a bullet. It reminded me of the days of Rashidi Yekini of Nigeria, whom had a missile in his feet. If he plays the penalty, don't even bother diving as a keeper. You're not going to get it. This is what Gyökeres reminded me of. We converted right at the death of the first half. I think the 44th minute. We went for second half. We were happy. Then that thing that Arsenal does happened. We second half we were not aggressive enough. We yielded possession to the opponents, to Atletico, and Atletico grew in confidence and came at us. They had some very good chances that they should have scored. One or two of them fell to Ademola Lookman, and one fell to Griezmann. That came off the crossbar. I thought he should have done better, But they were also awarded a penalty, and Ben White was deemed to have handled the ball. It was a penalty according to the UEFA rules. The reason why it was controversial is because the ball came off his knee. Excuse me. It came off his knee and bounced off his arm. At that point, initially when the ball came to him, his arms were in the natural position. But when it came off his knee, he took his hand out, and it struck his hand. The ball struck his hand, and it was deemed a penalty. Initially, the referee didn't call it. The VAR had to tell him to go check, and it was duly awarded. At least that rule from UEFA is consistent. Is a consistent rule. If your hand is out in the penalty box, there's no story about it. It's a penalty against you. You could also argue in the first half, we had a corner and Gabriel Magalhaes was blocked from heading the ball. That should have been a stonewall penalty, but you're not going to get it in Atletico Stadium because of the hostility of the crowd. I felt that was why it wasn't awarded, because it was checked, and to me that was a clear penalty. But we move on, and like I said, so they dominated at a point. There was a point for like 20 minutes. We couldn't get the ball. Atletico was all over us, and they kept missing chance after chance, and the most glaring chance was a chance that fell to Ademola Lookman. Usually, that's his kind of ball. Usually, he buries balls like that. But he played it straight to David Raya, who duly saved it. Then, on the other end, after we made some changes, we changed our whole attacking players. We changed Noni Madueke, we changed Victor Gyökeres, we changed Martinelli, and we changed Odegaard. We brought in Eze, we brought in Saka, we brought in Gabriel Jesus, and we brought in Trossard. The Trossard change, I really don't understand. I don't know if the coach plays Trossard to justify his salary. I really think instead of playing Trossard, you could have brought in Dolman. Dolman, look for a space for Dolman. I really wouldn't have minded that. But, we made the changes and we became better. Eze did one or two things in the final third. He controlled play in the final third better than Odegaard. He spread passes. He moved forward with the ball. He wasn't playing back. So we got better and we had a very good chance of our own when Mosquera, I don't know what he was doing there. When Mosquera released the shots, it was a good shot, but it was a bit direct to Oblak, the Atletico Madrid keeper, and he saved it. Then the controversy of the match came in, and it was a ball Saka drove into Eze. Eze got the ball first. In real play, it looked like the Atletico Madrid defender, David Hanko again, stamped on Eze. And the referee gave a penalty. To me, that was a right call. You could call it soft, but that was a right call. That was a right call. Then this VAR guy, just leave the official decision. If it's because there was contact, there was a stamp. David Hanko was late. His challenge was late. There was contact. Just as we were about to play that ball, the VAR motioned to the referee to come have another look at that incident. And he looked at it like 6-7 times, came back and overturned it. To me, that was a wrong decision. I think the referee fell for the pressure of the home side. I think the referee succumbed to the pressure of the very, very animated Diego Simeone. He was just every call, he was raising his hand. He should have been sent off. He was raising his hand for yellow cards, for this, for that. It was just disgusting. It was ridiculous, to say the least. But it's okay. The game ended 1-1. On the balance of things, Atletico were better on the day, which was expected because they were home. They were charged up for it. They were ready for this game. They had been waiting and planning for this game for a few weeks now. They've been resting players. They've been, So I predicted a 1-1. I didn't think we were going to win, but we were on the money to win today. If we had some very good finish in ourselves, we could have snatched a win. But a draw going back to the Emirates next week, I don't think it's a bad situation. Just like the PSG and Bayern Munich, no match is conclusive yet. Anything can still happen. Anything can happen, but the Arsenal will be slight favorites going to the Emirates. Don't forget, we have won Atletico Madrid this season already in the group phase of the Champions League. We won them 4-0, And I think if we put that in mind, this is a team that can be beaten. This is a team that can be gotten at. We can win that game easily. And you could tell from today's game that Atletico were very, very careful on giving away corners, giving away set pieces. They did a very good job there. We didn't get so many set piece plays. We didn't get anything there like that. They knew that was our strength, you know. And but yeah, it's what it is. Next week, we're gonna play the return leg. But before that, we have another crucial game in the EPL against Fulham on Saturday. Now, this game we went to Madrid, Spain. We have to come back, freshen up, recover, and make sure we get a result against Fulham. They, on the other hand, Atletico, they're going to rest all their players. They don't care. I think they're about 24 points off of Barcelona in the La Liga, and they know their spot in for next season Champions League is very, very assured. They're going to rest players again, so they're going to come with even more energy because we are going to play that game, and we can't even afford to rotate. We can't afford to rotate certain players. A lot of our players are injured. A lot of our players are off form. And, I can even make a case and tell you that the game against Fulham is equally as important, if not even more important, than the Champions League game. Because the game against Fulham is a must win. There is no other way. It's a win. Any way we can get a win. And Fulham is a very good team. Fulham is better than Newcastle. So we need to be better. The good thing is that we are playing that game at home. We are playing that game at home. And yeah, I mean, if we can get the crowd behind us, put in a very good shift, I think if we win that game and win and go through to the final, I believe that alone is going to boost our confidence. That alone is going to turn our season around. A few weeks ago, it seemed like, everything was over. It seemed like our season was, found out. It was found out, but I think with that Newcastle win, I think that win can re-energize us. We still have to score goals. We still have to look for ways. We have to look for ways to start scoring goals. Already today, it was just a penalty. That wasn't good enough. We have to wake up. These players have to do more. The coaches have to do more. Victor Gyökeres put in a very good performance today. I was okay with his performance, but he has to do more. We have to score. He has to be the man to drag us out of this situation, this neck and neck situation with Manchester City. He has to be the one that will fire us to the title. Either of the cups, if we win either of the cups, the league or the Champions League, I am fine. I don't think we can win both. But I'll be very happy if we can win one. And the easier route to winning one, to me, is the Premier League. If we win the remaining games, we have Fulham, we have West Ham, we have Burnley, and we have Crystal Palace. Win these 4 games, they are winnable to me. Win these 4 games and we're champions. On the other hand, Man City is going to struggle a bit because their fixtures are ramping up too. They have a lot of fixtures coming up and they have some very tough away games, notably the game against Everton and the game against Bournemouth. If we get our socks together, if we get our acts together, if we get our form back, if we get our mentality back, we can win this league. Champions League, as much as we can make the final, it's going to be a very, very difficult game against either of PSG or Bayern Munich. But it can be done. We have to put in a defensive masterclass. But before we do that, let us take care of Atletico next week. And that will be all for today. Like I said, I'm okay with a draw. I'm looking forward to the game against Fulham. This is the crunch time of the season. I'm looking forward to all this. And after the game against Fulham, I'll be here to analyze the game. And that'll be all for now. Till next time, it's goodbye.